You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Welcome in to the Outspoken Network here. It's your host, Brian. Hey, guys, it's been a long time since we've been on. I do want to apologize for that. We've been a little bit of a missing in action, but it's time to come back. It's time to come back home and do these again. Now, we got a lot to get into. I'm going to talk to you about the Texas Rangers, baby, winning the championship. I'm going to tell you about my story of actually being there at Game 5. Talk a little bit about probably a lot of it about the NFL. We talk about the NBA as well, in-season tournament. If you heard of that thing, I don't really understand it either. We'll get into all that in this episode 218. We are back, guys. All right, guys, welcome in. It's the Outspoken Network here, and I'm super glad to be on tonight. We've been a little bit of missing in action here, and I do want to apologize for that. We've been really busy at work, me and Craig, working a lot of hours, putting a lot of time in. We have, whether we've been on vacations, whether we've been sick. I've been sick. You'll probably hear me coughing a couple times on this episode. I've had a cough for 3 or 4 weeks now, and it won't go away. But we're back. We're going to get back into this podcast, and I want to apologize for our absence, but things have been a little hectic. Game 5, baby. I was there. The Texas Rangers finally get it done. My hat came in. I'll show you my beautiful hat here. It is the traditional Texas Rangers blue, but on the side it has the World Series champions 2023 Texas Rangers finally getting the job done, bringing that trophy home. It meant a lot to me and my family. I'll get to that, talk to you about why in a second here. And you know, it's funny. I don't have any, I didn't want to get this stuff like if you go look at a lot of the hats, they'll say postseason or World Series. I didn't want unless we won it, right? I didn't want to, if we lost it, I didn't want to remember that, hey, we made it and lost it. You know, I don't just, oh, we made it to the postseason. That's cool. It's not really cool. It's only cool if you get there and win it, right? So I had to wait till they won it. Ordered me this hat. It came in a couple days ago, and I've been wearing it nonstop. It's amazing. I'm so glad the Rangers won. And let me kind of tell you how it all kind of progressed here into me actually getting to go to the game. So it was Game 7 of Philadelphia Phillies versus Arizona Diamondbacks, and excuse me, there's that cough we talked about. Brother calls me up and he's like, "Hey, you work Wednesday?" I'm like, "Yeah, I work Wednesdays. It's, during the week. What's up? What do you think you could get off?" And I'm like, I don't know if I can get off. Probably not. I'm short-staffed. I got to run a route. He's like, "Well, how would you like to go to the World Series with me in Arizona?" What? Wait a minute. What? He's like, "Yeah, all expenses paid. You just got to pay for food." I said, "How? What?" I'm flabbergasted. I said, "Dude, I would love to go, but I don't think I can get off. I'll have to talk to my boss and see, but I doubt it." He's like, "Well, He's all right. Well, let me know. Let me find out. So my brother goes. He's like, I need to know. I need to know. So I call my boss up. I'm like, hey man, I'm only calling you because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. But my brother wants to take me to the World Series in Game 5 in Arizona if they win tonight, because they still had to beat Philly to go, right? So my boss is like, well, man, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I said, yeah, that's the only reason I'm calling you. He said, screw it, buy the tickets. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out here. Get the tickets and go. I said, awesome. You're the man. Call my brother up, said, get them. Get the tickets. Let's go. I said, how did this even happen? Well, at that time, the tickets were pretty cheap because we didn't know if Arizona was going to win. We didn't know what was going to happen, because if Arizona won or lost and they were going to Philly, it'd have been a moot point. My brother would have got his money back, and it would have been the end of the discussion. So that night, let me back up a little bit. So I'm like, hey, how does this? What's going on? How are we getting to go to the World Series if Arizona wins? And he said, well, I was going to buy myself a ticket, and I called mom up and said, hey, mom, how would you like to give me a little money towards my Christmas present to send me to the World Series? And she goes, well, how much are the tickets? And he told her, and she goes, well, for that, if you and your brother want to go, I'll send you. What? Sweet. So basically, we were able to get 2 plane tickets for $250 and $250 for the World Series tickets. At that time, we spent about $500, right? And some change per person. So about $1,000 for us to go to the World Series. And one standing room ticket here was $750. So I get to go to a different stadium, which that's a bucket list, is to go to other stadiums. I want to go. I would love to go to all of them. This is not going to happen, but get to go to a new stadium. I get to watch my team in the World Series. Those are bucket list things. So yeah, I tell Craig, I say, hey, Craig, sorry, buddy, I'm going to the World Series. That night, we were hoping and praying that Arizona won. And they did. So we said, man, we get to go to the World Series as long as we don't win in 4, lose in 4. You know, I felt like we were the better team than Arizona. I felt like we were going to win the series, but you never know with our history, especially in the World Series, that we don't, I guess we can talk about that now because we've won one. But me and my brother, we get up, go to the airport, fly out there. We get there at 4:00. The game starts at 5. We Uber over with this other Ranger fan. He paid the Uber. He's like, hey, I'm going there. Your guys are going there too. I got it. No worries. We get there at 4:50. We land at 4. By the time we got to Uber, we get there. We get to the stadium. We don't get to really walk around the stadium. We got to get there and get in our seats. We're in 307, 306 section, way up there at the nosebleeds. And if you've ever been to the Arizona Chase Bank Field, there are no escalators or elevators. It's the long tunnel. So if you're sitting up high, you got to walk up this long tunnel, and then you're going to walk up. We finally get in our seats maybe 10 minutes before game time. The roof is open. It's right there in downtown Arizona. I'm not sure. I forget what even city it's in. I forget what city it's in, but it's right there in downtown. It's a pretty nice stadium for being as old as it is. It's pretty nice with the roof open. The weather was fantastic, and it worked out perfectly to that hey, if we win these games, we're going to game 5, and we could see our team win it, right? We could see our team celebrate on the field, all that stuff. That's a dream come true. And it's a dream come true. It's a bucket list. You could not plan it out to be there. you just couldn't ask for it to be we could not have planned this out, dreamed it up even better than it was, right? So we're there. Big game Nate is on the field. We're watching it. We're watching it go down. And every inning, they have runners in scoring position. The big game Nate gets out. We're sweating. It's sixth inning. We haven't got a hit yet. And we start putting the bats on the ball. And I believe the first hit of the game was Corey Seager's little dribbler to third base. And if the third baseman was playing where he was supposed to be, that was an out. But he was shifted over a little bit. And that ball dribbles into left field, and we put some hits together and pieced together some hits. And I really wasn't getting. I mean, I was excited, but I wasn't like we're going to win the World Series until Simeon hits 2-run shot. When Simeon hits 2-run shot, I believe it was the 8th inning or 9th inning. That's when I said, "Hey, we've got it, baby. We've got it. We're going to win the World Series. We're 3 outs away." And that's when because as a Ranger fan and the history of us in the World Series, you didn't want to get too excited too early because you never know what could happen. And there was a lot of Ranger fans there. Actually, when I got back, I actually watched the game on TV to watch the broadcast part of it. And I want to watch it and hear the announcers and the Rangers have won the the World Series and all that. And I wanted to watch it. And in the game where we were sitting, you couldn't really hear the Ranger chants. It happened later on in the game, like the 8th or 9th inning, you could hear it. But in the game on the broadcast, you could hear the "Let's Go Ranger" chants. I was like, wow, there's more fans there than I thought there'd be. We do our spring training out there, so I already knew our fan base was going to be there. Sorry, I had to look it up. It's actually in Phoenix. So downtown Phoenix. I was right on that. But anyways, we're there. They get the strike 3 call to win the game. We're celebrating. My adrenaline's going crazy. My mom and wife are watching it at home. My wife and my mom are crying, and this means a lot to our family, and it does for a lot. You hear the phone calls into the radio station here in Texas the next day about people calling in talking about why this means so much to them, and I got emotional. I did. I gave a couple happy tear cries for my grandma and my grandpa, and it goes back to that far where they're big Ranger fans. And I remember going to my grandpa's house and just talking about the Rangers and watching Ranger baseball, and he was hoping he got to see them win before he passed away, and that didn't happen. And my grandma, she watched every game she could. Every game was on TV, all 162 games. She was watching them, and she was a big Ranger fan. And I've went to a billion Ranger teams or games growing up as a kid. So it meant a lot to me. It was very special that they won it. And then a lot of people feel that same way around here. And just remember their grandma and grandpa, and it's been, passed away. Never got to see them win. My brother my grandma's cremated, actually took some of her in a necklace to the game. She was there with us, and it just meant a lot, kind of a more than sports thing. And it was just special for us. And a lot of people, though, being Ranger fans for so long and never seeing them win it, coming so close, and it meant a lot to this town. And there was over 250,000 people at the parade. I didn't get to go to the parade. People are like, you get to go to the parade. I said, nah, I was lucky enough to be there. And I think that trumps anything else as far as celebrating. Me and my brother went out that night and we celebrated and had a good time. And class act, Arizona fans, man. I didn't have anything against Arizona. The Diamondbacks, they were another team that wasn't expected to be there this year, and they were the Cinderella story. I don't think the Rangers were really a Cinderella story because we have those guys. We have those powerhouse players. We spent a lot of money to bring in these free agents in here. And we have some marquee guys, and they really don't. with the Diamondbacks, and they've scrapped together a season where they just in the baseball you've got to get it in the playoffs, and when you get into the playoffs, anything's capable of happening, and that was excuse me, um, that was exactly what happened with Phoenix, the Diamondbacks, and they um they were a class act fan base. They after we won, they shook our hands, said, "Hey, you guys deserve it. Congratulations." And they're a very young, talented baseball team that put it all together. Um, if you're a Ranger fan, you're excited. Going out and getting Bruce Bochy was really a big factor in this, and spending the money that we've spent. Chris Young and this as our GM and the organization has been fantastic, and what they've been able to do in such a short amount of time. We lost 102 games 2 years ago. We lost 90 games last year to come into here and make it to the World Series. We won 90 games. We've had plenty of opportunities this season to kind of drop the ball. We didn't win our division the last game of the season. We didn't win our division, and people are like, "Man, that's kind of sucky." But it didn't matter. We didn't let that get us down, and that's what Bruce Bochy's been talking about a lot is how these guys had an opportunity to let that kind of get them down, and we didn't, and we moved on. And if you talk to me throughout the year if we were going to win the World Series, now we're a playoff team, but I don't think we're going to make it to the World Series. We got bullpen issues, we got this and that. We've had injuries left and right, and when we went from bullpen being a really big problem in the regular season to bullpen being lights out in the playoffs. We won 11 road games throughout the playoffs. The record was 9. We broke it at 10, and we set the new record at 11. To do it the way we did it, to come in there and sweep the Braves and sweep the Baltimore Orioles, who had won over 100 games, won their division, to take our division winner, our hated rival Astros, to 7 games and win it, was fantastic. And it's something I'll never forget. Being there, I want to thank you, Mom. Thank you so much. Thank you for my brother and putting this together, because you could not have asked for us to go any better and be any better for me. And it's just magical to be able to be there for the game winning World Series championship Texas Rangers, and I don't think anything is going to top it in my sports world. I really don't honestly think anything was going to top that moment. And I'll be wearing this hat for a really long time, and getting more gear. I got to get more Ranger gear. I got to get more stuff, especially the championship on it, because it's just greatness. Um, going forward into next year too, I think with the pieces we have, this team is going to be successful going forward too. I'm not saying we're going to be a dynasty or win a lot of championships. I'm just saying with the talent we have, the head coach Bochy's already said, "Hey, I'm coming back," because he could retire now and be like, "I did what I was supposed to, guys. See you later." He's coming back. I think he's a big part of this. Um, we've seen that, like, we're going to fight for the playoffs every year, and that's fantastic. We were supposed to be 2 years out, right? Um, so for us to go in there this year and get it done was insane. And if you're a Rangers fan and you watched them throughout the season, you knew the ups and downs. You knew about the bullpen falling apart. You knew about all our injuries we had. You knew about our hiccups. And if you told me that going down the stretch that we are going to win the World Series this year, I would have a hard time believing it, just because of their bullpen. We're going to see what next year holds. I'm not, sitting here saying we're going to win it all, but I think we'll be a competitive baseball team. I think we'll spend the money that we need to, hopefully. And we got some pieces that we got to bring back and figure out who we're going to let go, because when you win a World Series, people start picking apart your team and spending more money than you're willing to spend most of the time to bring these guys back. Our main core pieces, as Seager and Simeon and Garcia, are wrapped up, I believe, is under contract. I know Seager and Simeon are. But we keep developing these guys, and we drafted a outfielder that we're going to, they say, probably be bringing up this next year sometime, who's who was a great pick by us. I'm worried about our pitching development in the minor leagues still. Rocker, um, and Leiter, and we have another guy as well, but I forget his name. But the Rangers spotlight is bright right now, and it feels really good because it's been a long time since we've been this good. We've never won it before, so we won it this year, and it was fantastic. So, um, congratulations to the Rangers, and you've brought a lot of just memories for me and my brother and our family, and a lot of families here in Texas or that are Ranger fans of finally getting that championship. So thank you so much. um, excuse me. This is why I didn't want to get on and do a podcast because coughing is not fantastic to listen to. All right, guys, let's get into the NFL. There's been a lot going on this season, and I'm watching that Bronco and Bills game the other night, and my gosh, I actually posted on Facebook. The Bills are trying to try to give this game away, and the Broncos offense is lethargic. But the Broncos end up losing the game. The Bills actually end up losing the game. The Broncos kick the game-winning field goal. It's no good. You're like, the Bills are going to escape with a 1-point victory, but there's an offside call, and they get to redo it. And, of course, they hit it again, and Broncos win that game. The Buffalo Bills are 5-5. They fire their offensive coordinator. Something needs to happen. And before this season started, I said this is going to be it for the Bills. This is going to be it. You know, there's a time where your team is good, right? And you'll win a lot of games in the regular season, but you never get over that hump, and you lose in the playoffs, and it's just too talented. You're like, why are we not winning ball games? And it might go on for 2 or 3 years, but then something's got to change because the formula you have is good, right? Like, it's obviously getting you to the playoffs. It's usually winning your division. You're a good football team, but something's not happening. Maybe they're not buying into their head coach anymore. I'm not sure, but they don't look very good. Josh Allen's throwing interceptions left and right. He's back to the old Josh Allen, and you don't want to see that for them. But my all kind of, if you had to ask me what the overall the overall kind of one word to sum up the season so far, and it's sloppy. There's been a lot of sloppy, mediocre football. Most people thought the Bills were going to be a juggernaut. They're 5-5. The Patriots are 2-8. I'm surprised Bill Belichick. I mean, he's been there long enough where they were not going to fire him in season, but I think that's his last season there. The Ravens are 7-3. Fantastic. But what we all know what the Ravens are. They lose in the playoffs. So are they going to prove us wrong this season? The Pittsburgh Steelers are 6-3. I'm really surprised by that. I think no one's really talking about that. Mike Tomlin's done a fantastic job with them there. Cleveland 6-3. It's a pretty good record. They just lost their quarterback to Deshaun Watson for the rest of the season. Cincinnati, one of the worst drop-offs of the season. 5-4. Last place in the division. First couple games, I'm going okay. Joe Burrow starts off slow. This team usually starts off slow, and they pick it up. Well, they're not picking it up yet. It's 5-4. I'm not pushing a panic button yet for Cincy, but someone better be watching out for them because this team has not been playing very good. They played the Houston Texans last week and lost. That was a really fun game to watch. Cincy's like that team that just thinks they're good enough to go out and win, right? They seem like, hey, we got Joe Burrow, we got Jamar Chase, we're good. But they're starting off really slow in these games, and they're not being able to catch up. And last year, they went to the Super Bowl the year before. They come out last season, and they start off slow when we all expected them to be a juggernaut, and then they kind of picked it up. Well, they're not picking it up this season. And if you're Cincinnati, you're probably going, what in the heck's going on around here? Joe Burrow's a really good quarterback. Jamar Chase, there's something there. They haven't made adjustments to whatever these teams are doing to Cincy, but something's missing there, and it's not looking good for them. Jacksonville leading the South 6-3. That whole division's absolute trash. Jacksonville should be leading this division. Trevor Lawrence hasn't made that step yet. Right? Like last year, and if Craig was on here, he would say, I've told you this, right? Craig's a big believer that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust. Last year, halfway through the season, he had a great second half of the season. I go, okay, if he takes that, works on it more in the offseason, and progresses this year, they should win this division. They're probably going to win the division anyways. But you go and watch his games, and you're like, that was nothing special. You don't look at these games and go, hey, this is where Trevor Lawrence wins in the game. This is the oh man, Trevor Lawrence took this team on his back right here and just won this game. I haven't seen that yet. I'm still waiting for Jacksonville Jaguar team. The fans are still waiting for it to go, okay, this guy's here. This guy's arrived. I haven't seen it yet. He might have okay numbers, but I haven't seen him go, this is my time. I'm going to take it over, and then we're going to win this game. We're going to score 35 points. We're going to blow out this team, and I'm going to put us on our back. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. What people need to be talking more on is the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans and TJ Stroud, man, he has been money. I said TJ. It's CJ Stroud. There's always been that stigma that, Ohio State quarterbacks can't play football. And that's been in the NFL. And that's been the stigma. That's been pretty much factual coming out. But CJ Stroud, man, let me tell you what. 2,600 yards. He's got a rating of 101. He's making those plays. I'm telling you. He looks good. It looks like they've finally found their guy. He has 15 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. This game was fun. If you didn't get to see that Houston Texans, and if you didn't get to see that Houston Texans and Bengals game where the Bengals lost, go watch it. CJ Stroud was making big boy plays out there. Okay. He looks good. They went out and they got, excuse me. They went out and they got Stroud. They went out and they went up and got defensive end from Alabama and Anderson. And they went out and got their new head coach, and they look promising. So it's very promising there for Houston. I'm not going to lie. One of my shop supervisors at work, he's a Houston Texans fan. So we give him hell about it because they've not been a very good football team for a long, long time. And we made a bet. He said, hey, I bet you at the end of the season that my Houston Texans will have a better record than the Green Bay Packers. Winner, loser has to buy the other one lunch. Cool, I'll take that bet. Well, it looks like I'm going to be losing that bet because they're 5-4. They're second place right now. They're one game back from first place in that division. They could win that division. I'm not going to say it's out of the out of it, out of the chances or the possibilities that happens, because Houston's been playing well. CJ Stroud has been playing pretty daggum good football. There's a couple boneheaded throws he had in there, and that's the rookie in him, right? They're gonna work and coach that out of him for making those boneheaded plays and boneheaded throws, but he's made a lot of good throws. And he beat the Bengals without his number one wide receiver. So things are looking really up for them. Kansas City Chiefs are 7-2, but they're continuing to do what they do. The Raiders are 5-5. It's a team that's very been disappointing. They fired their head coach already. We'll see what they got going forward, but Davante Adams has been not happy there. You got the Chargers at 4-5 and the Broncos at 4-5, and the Chargers are a very disappointing football team. I think the coach gets fired. Maybe maybe the season, probably after the end of this year. Something's got to change there with the talent you got on that team. They're too good to be that bad. And then the Denver Broncos, last year it was almost pitiful how bad of a football team they were. And this year, they're not much better. Russell Wilson's been better. Their offense is still pretty lethargic. I'm just not sure about them. I don't think they're a very good football team. They're talented. There's just no night and day difference we were hoping for when Sean Payton came in. I don't know if Jeff feels the same way about it or not, but I just watching the game the other night, I did not see a night and day difference with Sean Payton being there as the head coach. They are better than they were last year, but 4-5 is just not good enough. And I think Jeff would agree with that part of it. You've got the Lions leading the NFC North. We talked about it. This team's gotten a lot better. They're playing their hearts out for their head coach. They are one game back from the best record in the NFL, not only the NFC, but in the whole NFL. Minnesota Vikings are 6-4. They lost Kirk Cousins for the rest of the year. Dobbs came in, didn't know the game plan, and pulled out a victory. We'll see how he's going to keep doing there. Chicago's 3-7. They're just as bad as Green Bay. And I'm about to go on a Green Bay rant. And you guys might not care, or you guys might not like it. You might agree with me. But for all you people out there that are busting on Jordan Love and complaining about Jordan Love and how bad you think he is, this guy's got nothing to work with. Nothing. When Aaron Rodgers complained about his talent around him, every one of you guys, the management, the GM, the ownership, whatever, never given Aaron Rodgers a team around him. We've never given him a good team. It's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. But now, Aaron Rodgers is gone. We've got nobodies he's playing with. He's playing with nobodies. He's playing with a bunch of rookies that have got to get on the same game plan he's playing with a bunch of rookies. He's playing with nobodies. They're the youngest offense in the NFL. Not Deshaun Watson. Christian Watson comes back this season. He looked good halfway through the year, most last season. Excuse me. You cannot judge Jordan Love off this year. We've given him nothing. Nothing. He's got Aaron Jones. That's all he has. And Aaron Jones is good. Hasn't played all that great this season. Fumbled the football quite a bit. Been hurt a lot. If you are going to judge Jordan Love off of this season alone, that's unfair to him. And it really is. And I don't care if you believe me or not, but go look at his talent around him. We ain't got much. And then when he throws them the ball, they drop it left and right the other day. They just dropping passes all day long. So for you guys out there unfairly criticizing Jordan Love, need to shut up. Bottom line, it is not fair for you to judge this guy off of 1 year with the talent that this team has not put around him, because he ain't got no talent around him. The youngest team in the NFL, and you think this guy who is a rookie, basically, I don't care if he's set behind Aaron Rodgers, that does nothing. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre, and y'all think he was that great because Brett Favre? No, Brett Favre even came out and said, it's not my job to coach this guy up. The only thing that matters, or the way many people have said this, that the only way you can get better is about playing football is actually playing football, repping it against NFL talent. So Jordan Love's basically a rookie. I don't care how many years he's been in here. This is his first full season. And then you throw on top of his best wide receivers, Christian Watson. He gets the most double teams out of any other wide receiver in the NFL. I looked that up this morning. He gets more double teamed than anybody else in the NFL, and they're basically saying beat us with anybody but him. And looks like we can't beat nobody right now. We've got nobody. We put nothing around Jordan Love and expect him to what uh, what do you expect Jordan Love to do with the talent we've given around him? Exactly. I came out and I even came out and said I just don't know if Jordan Love's the guy, but I'm not writing this guy off. I am sitting back going, what happens happens, and it's unfair for us to judge this guy off of the season that he's having because the talent is crap that we put around him. And that's just facts. So for all you guys out there, you can shove it. All right? You can shove it. On with the next one. All right, Saints are 5-5. That has not gone the way I thought it was. Maybe Derek Carr could come in here and resurrect his career. They're not very good. 4-5 Tampa, the 4-6 Atlanta Falcons, and the 1-8 Carolina Panthers looking to get the number one seed again as well. San Francisco 6-3, fighting with Seattle 6-3. The Rams and Cardinals are as bad as we thought they'd be. Now I thought they would drop off a little bit. They're competing with the 49ers there for that division. I might owe Pete Carroll another apology. I don't know if the first one last year was good enough. And then you got the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles. The Eagles are 8-1. They're the best team in football right now, best record-wise. Cowboys are 6-3. Washington's 4-6. And the Giants are an abysmal football game. And the NFL, can you please stop giving us the Cowboys and Giants and calling a game of the week in prime time like the Giants are actually going to be there and play football? Because I'm tired of watching the 42-0 blowouts. It's pathetic. Putting these guys on the first game of the year, putting these guys on Sunday Night Football or Thursday night, it's pathetic. The Giants are absolute dog crap and trash. They are terrible. And their coach should have got coach of the year last year, just getting that team, that dog crap team, to the playoffs. Then they make the dumb decision to go up and sign up Saquon Barkley, who's been hurt most of his NFL career, and Daniel Jones, who can't play quarterback. And I don't feel bad for him because you're making stupid decisions and your dog crap football team. Terrible. I can't even watch them. They're just terrible. Terrible. So that's how the NFL's panned out. The NFC South is just as bad as it was last year. 49ers leading the way down there in the West. Eagles and Cowboys, we all know it was going to come down to that. It looks like the Eagles are going to be the first team to win that division back-to-back in 20 whatever years it's been, some weird record like that. Dak Prescott looks – here's the Cowboys for you, okay? They beat up the bad teams, and they lose against the good ones. There's your Cowboys. They'll be 12-5. They'll make the playoffs. They'll lose to a good team in the playoffs, and here we are again, sitting at the same. It's the same merry-go-round with them. Dak Prescott will beat up on the Giants, and he'll have every guy talking about how good he is, and then, but they don't go out. They go out and lose. They don't beat the good ones, right? I mean, they beat the Giants 40-0 opening night. They beat the Jets 30-10 without Aaron Rodgers. They beat the Cardinals, or they lost to the Cardinals, a bad football team. They smoked the Patriots. They lose. They get blown out against the 49ers. They beat the Chargers by 3. They blow out the Rams, the bad football team, and they lose to the Eagles. And then they blow out the Giants. They got the Panthers this coming Sunday, which will be the worst, one of the worst games to watch. The Panthers are 1-8. Then they got the Commanders, and then you got Seattle, which will be good. And you got the Eagles, and then you got the Bills. Who knows what Bills team's going to show up? And then you got Dolphins. They're going to get tested at the very last part of their schedule, and then you got the Bills, Dolphins, and Lions and Commanders. And we'll see what they do when they finish out the rest of the season. Who do the Eagles have? They're 8-1 right now. They beat the Patriots, they beat the Vikings, they beat the Bucks, Commanders, Rams. Lost to the Jets. That's a bad loss. They beat the Dolphins. Really good win. Beat the Cowboys is a good win. They got the Chiefs next this coming week. This is the game you're going to want to watch. You got the Bills, tough. 49ers, tough. Cowboys again, tough. Seattle, tough. They're going to get tested at the very end. And the last 3 games, you got Giants, Cardinals, Giants. Those 3 should be wins. So, be interesting to see. They kind of get a little difficult there as well. So, my surprise this year, really, right now, is I think the Houston Texans, and I think you've pretty much everyone's got to have them there. Your surprise for the good will be Houston Texans. They're 5-4. CJ Stroud seems to be the real deal. They can work on this progress and keep him going, and he's making those throws, and he's making plays out there with his legs, and he was doing a little bit of everything, and they can build around him, put a team around him. I think that's a really good thing. The bad surprise has got to be the Bengals. The Bengals or the Bills, and I guess it really depends on how highly you had them this season. And I had the Bengals over the Bills. I could see this progress drop off of the Bills. I told you guys before the season started, when we were going through each team, that I think the Bills could drop off. This is kind of their last season, I think, of a hoorah. I think the Sean McDermott's probably gone next year. I'm not sure, but my biggest is the Cincinnati Bengals. I did not expect to see them at 5-4. I did not expect him to see them playing this badly and Joe Burrow struggle as much as he has, because he has struggled. This is no longer the offensive line problem, which they probably still have an offensive line problem, or defense giving up 40 points a game. This is a Joe Burrow struggling problem, and what are we going to do to fix it? I've never really had a rushing attack there. It's been worth a crap. So they've got to figure it out, and they've got to figure it out fast, because that division's tough. All teams ahead of you. You're 2 games out of first. Okay, and you're 1 game back from the Cleveland and Pittsburgh, but I did not even have Cleveland and Pittsburgh above you at any point this season. So they've got to find their way out of the cellar to even get to the playoff spot. I think another big surprise is 6-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett didn't play too well last year. I saw flashes of him. Mike Tomlin's doing a heck of a job there, winning with what he's got. And maybe Kenny Pickett's progressed, and I really haven't seen him play. But I haven't been able to watch much of the Packers either, because of the fact that I don't have the NFL Network, and they're not showing them now that Aaron Rodgers isn't there. But Cleveland Browns are 6-3. Could be a shocker, but not too bad. So my biggest surprise for the positive would be the Houston Texans, and my biggest surprise for the negative is the Cincinnati Bengals. And it's funny because they both have the same record. It all depends on your perspective of them and the expectations you have set for each team going into the season. So that's what's funny about that nugget, because my expectations for the Bengals to be one of the best teams in the league and win their division, and my expectations for the Houston Texans was probably first-round pick again. And they both kind of proved me wrong. So there you go with the NFL. And Miami has been really good. They've kind of slowed down a little bit on the beat the brakes off of everybody train. So we'll see going there. I mean, Detroit Lions slowly been winning, and this is a team that really no one's really kind of talking about. And it's because I think they've got to go in and win a couple playoff series before we start taking Detroit seriously. They're going to win this division this year unless they absolutely collapse and Dobbs just killing it out there in Minnesota. I don't expect that to happen. They play hard for this head coach and Dan Campbell. I think anybody would. I'll run through a brick wall for that guy. The defense looks good. The offense looks good. Jared Goff is out there quietly taking W's. And this team is well put together. And I think it all started with Dan Campbell. And I really like Dan Campbell. I'm a Packers fan, but I like Dan Campbell and who he is. So look out for Detroit as they could finish with the second seed in the NFC East or NFC. They could finish with the first seed in the NFC. They're 1 game back right now from them. So watch them as they get going. Let's look at their schedule going forward here. They've got the Chicago Bears. That's a win. They got Green Bay. That's a win. They got the Saints. That should be a win. They got Chicago again. That should be a win. They got Denver. Should be a win. They got Minnesota. Should be a win. They got Dallas, which I think they probably lose that one, but that could be a win. Minnesota again. Giants should be a win. Jacksonville should be a toss up. Or no, sorry, that's postseason. So Dallas is really the only one that could probably. I mean, you could lose any game, right? Any given Sunday, but Dallas, um, they might lose one to Minnesota, and the Saints might give them trouble. But this team, man, they've gone out. They beat Kansas City week 1. They lost to Seattle in overtime, which Seattle loss is kind of head scratching. But Seattle's on a better win percentage than I thought they were going to have. They beat Atlanta. They beat Green Bay. They beat Carolina. They beat Tampa Bay. They lost to Baltimore. They got the brakes stomped off them in Baltimore. They beat Vegas. They beat the Chargers, and then now they got Chicago. So I could easily see them. I could see them finishing one of the best records in the NFL and being at number 2. So, all right, guys, there's your NFL talk. The ups and the downs of the season. I think we've had a lot of sloppy football. That's just my opinion. The NBA started, NHL started, NHL. I'll get Craig in here on that one. I don't know a whole lot about the NHL. I just know I'm a Dallas Stars fan, and they look pretty good right now. They're 11-3-1. They have 23 points right now, which is, I believe, tied for second most or third most points in the NHL right now. And I'm not really familiar on the point system. That's a whole Craig debate here or situation, which we'll get him back hopefully this weekend. Dallas Stars looking good right there. They're only about 15 games into the season. Some teams have 16 games under their belt. The NBA started right now, and you look at the Western Conference. You got the defending champs, Denver Nuggets. They're 9-2, only lost 2 games. Minnesota Timberwolves are 8-2, kind of starting off where they left off last season. Dallas Mavericks 8-3. They look pretty good. The Houston Rockets is 6-3. That's a surprise right there. The Lakers are number 7, Golden State 8, and the Suns are at 10 at 4-6. What's going on there in Phoenix? I don't know. Utah Jazz there as well. San Antonio Spurs. All the talk about Wembanyama. They're 3-8 right now. They've got to get it together. You look at the Eastern Conference. You got the 76ers. You got the Celtics. The Pacers are up there. The Milwaukee Bucks are 6-4. The Damian Lillard's the big trade they made for him. They're sitting at 6 seed. This is all still early. They got 10 games in, 11 games for some teams. Not blowing it up just yet. But are you guys interested in the in-game season tournament? I don't. I don't. I mean, it's supposed to draw more eyes and it's supposed to be more meaningful games, but will it really matter to the fan base? Because that's what really matters, right? And the NBA to me has fallen to my 4th favorite sport. If I list you my 4 favorite sports in order, it's football, baseball, hockey, and basketball. And I think basketball has fallen that way because of how soft the sport has gotten. Flopping left and right. Every little touch is a penalty or a foul. It's a 3-point contest. This is not really exciting to me, right? But we've seen baseball this last season make some changes over the last couple of years, and it's really worked out in their favor. The baseball time frame is down. They got the pitch clock. You got this. You got more stolen bases. You got balls put in play more, and that's worked out better for them. So the NBA said, what can we do to get the eyes back on us? And they started this in-game tournament. Not in-game tournament, it's in-season tournament, sorry. I don't understand it really. I guess at the end of the day, it's going to be a tournament, obviously, in the season. It's a tournament within the structure of the NBA season meant to add more meaning to regular season games. And that's the problem, right? 82 games is a lot. People don't turn into basketball till usually the last half of the season or even into the playoffs. Excuse me. There's special courts and uniforms they wear to bring more visual to the courts. I think some of the courts do look actually pretty cool, so you know which it is. Excuse me. So it's going to be interesting to see if it actually works. if people actually care about um if people actually care about the in-game tournament. Um so the NBA season tournament is a single elimination. I'm just looking up some Google questions. The knockout rounds will consist of single elimination games in the quarterfinals played in the NBA team markets on Monday, December 4th and Tuesday, December 5th, and semifinals and championship played. It's all weird. I'm not really sure how it's all going to work out. Um, how will the midseason NBA tournament work? The tournament rules are as follows: each conference is divided into 3 groups with 5 teams each for a total of 6 groups. The top of 3 teams by previous season record are randomly assigned to the 3 conference groups. Then the next 3 are randomly assigned, and so on. Um, it's going to bring some different intrigue to the sport, but how much is it going to work? Is it going to add the fan base um, back? Is it going to bring up those numbers? And I just don't know. I don't know if it is. Are you guys interested in it? Let me know. Let me know if you are, because I don't know if I really am. Because at the end of the day, all that matters is bragging rights for that team. I don't think it messes with the playoffs. I don't think it really matters for anything else other than that. It's just bragging rights. And I don't care about the team's bragging rights. Um, Either you like basketball or you don't. I think the baseball's done a really good job of adding different things here or there to put more action in the baseball game, right? That's what people were missing, because it is either home run or strikeout. Now they're putting the ball and play more. There's more defensive plays. There's more stolen bases that brought back, and there's more of that stuff in it. And they took the shift away, and so that puts more balls in play. So I think a lot of things that baseball was doing was to make it better for the fan base, and trying to get more action in the game. And to me, the in-game tournament doesn't mean it's going to bring more people. It might, though, because if the games mean more for that tournament, then the players might play more games. You may not be sitting all those players sitting out games like Kawhi Leonard missing half the season because he's load management and all that BS. And I think that's the problem I have with the NBA too, is their guys just load management, and they um, you don't get to see these guys play half the time. But especially if you're spending money to go there. But I digress. We'll add more. We'll add more fire for the guys to want to play those games and try harder. And you might see better basketball, maybe. And if there's better basketball being played, then maybe that brings more eyes to the game. But I'm just not sure it's going to work out too well for the NBA and what they're hoping for. Let me know if you guys are interested in that. But guys, it's been great to get back on here. It's been great to jump back on here and talk to you about sports. It's almost an hour now. I'm going to tell you what's been in my locker. In my locker, like I told you, we've been working hard. We've been putting in a lot of hours at work, and Craig went deer hunting last week. I'm on vacation this week. I go back next week. We're settled. We're getting all ready for the holidays. Holidays are a very special time of year for everybody, and it's very busy and stressful. And my favorite holiday is actually Thanksgiving. And then it would be Christmas. When I was a kid, it was Christmas because you get all the toys, right? But as you grow up, I think my mindset changes, and I think it's Thanksgiving. You get time with the family, hanging out, watching football, cooking good food, sitting down and eating dinner all together, and just hanging out as family. And I think that's very important. Christmas is great because I get to see the girls' faces and my kids' faces, and how happy Santa and I and the wife have made them, and the hard work you put into getting them things, and putting it together. And then it's also good food and family as well. So it's all very important if you're doing it for the right reasons. Um, but it's very busy time of the year for my work, for everybody else. And so just stay safe out there. Keep your eyes moving when you're out. The crazy things tend to happen this time of year as well. I hope you enjoyed my story of going to World Series Game 5 and watching my team win the championship. It is fantastic. I loved it. A memory I'll never forget, and a treasure that I'll always have, and a memory I made with my brother and for my grandma and grandpa, and they were there with us watching that game from heaven. So a very special moment for us. I'm off this week. It's the wife's birthday. So it was actually on Saturday, the 11/11. Veterans Day is her birthday. So it was 11/11, and we went out to see DJ Pauly D. Yes, her best friend Amber got her tickets to go see DJ Pauly D. They're big Jersey Shore fans. They watched that show together. So we went out to Texas Live and watched Jersey. We did something that we never do because, I mean, we're not. My wife's really a homebody. I'm more of a social person, but I'm not the club guy. And we basically went to the club, watched DJ Pauly D. Didn't get home till we went to actually the hotel about 2:00 in the morning. And guys, I got something for you that's gonna. Oh, if you don't do it now, start doing it. Because every woman I bring this up to, they were like, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing." For my wife's birthday, every year, I have 4 kids, right? I have 4 girls. If you didn't know that about me, I got 4 girls. I'm a girl dad to the T. My toenails are usually painted. I love my girls, but kids can drive you crazy, right? Especially if you're a stay-at-home mom. My wife's a stay-at-home mom, and the kids drive her crazy. I get it. I don't know how she does it. They drive me crazy sometimes, and I'm only with them half the time. But not half the time, but I work during, you get what I'm saying. You get my drift. For her birthday every year, she wants time to herself. She wants alone time. I send her to a hotel for 2 or 3 nights. I pay for her hotel. That's her Christmas. That's her birthday present. We will go on a date. She, at the hotel, she goes and gets snacks and is able to get food, obviously, but just that time where she doesn't have to be interrupted every 5 seconds with mom, 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 or that she can do whatever she wants is priceless for her to recoup. And that's her birthday present. And sometimes I get to go, like Saturday, we went to the hotel. It was spend the night with her. I came home the next day, and then she stayed for 2 more nights. Whereas by herself, where she could sleep in as long as she wanted to. She doesn't have to share her food with the kids. She doesn't have to be she can watch her shows without being interrupted. Whatever she needs to do to revamp, get that battery rejuiced. And she loves it. Absolutely fantastic. And people might think it's weird. Oh, you send her wife to a hotel by herself. She loves it. So next time your wife's birthday comes up, try that. I'm telling you, try that. Tell her, hey babe, I'm sending you to this hotel for the weekend, couple nights, by yourself. Sneak away if you can. Great. If you can't, you gotta watch the kids. By yourself. Go relax. Maybe get her a spa treatment. Maybe send her to get her nails done. Spend some time by yourself. I know you take care of the kids. It's gonna be frustrating. Go revamp. I'm telling you, they love it. I'm telling you, it's something to think about. Try that out. Let me know how that works out for you. All right, guys. Well, it's been fantastic to get back on here. I'll be doing more on here. Hopefully, me and Craig will be back on Saturdays talking about football and the NHL and NBA as well. Guys, stay blessed during this holiday season. Keep your eyes out because it gets crazy during this time of year. God bless, and remember to keep it outspoken.